Welcome back to my channel. I'm Janet. In this week's video, I'll be demonstrating how I created this charcoal drawing of this dynamic galloping horse. I'll be demonstrating the different types of charcoal I use, eraser work, and blending tools. And how I add a touch of soft pastel. It creates a beautiful warmth to the horse and adds to the energy and dynamic movement. So without further ado, let's get started. I begin my drawing using vine charcoal, and what I love about vine charcoal is that it's so forgiving. You can easily wipe it back or wipe it away. And when I'm working on my drawing freehand like I am, I like to have that kind of freedom. Horses are such beautiful, dynamic creatures, and they actually are kind of a difficult subject matter to have structurally correct. And I've been fortunate enough to spend most of my life having a horse or being around horses. So please do focus on the correctness of their stature. And that's why vine charcoal is great, because you can easily wipe it back and erase it. And at this stage of my drawing, you can see me wiping it back. This adds to the depth of the drawing and also helps you in case you want to make a few corrections. And once again, I'm using vine charcoal, and I have this really giant jumbo piece, which is so much fun to use. And I'm going back in and reestablishing the darks, the shadows, the line of the horse. And you'll see as I've developed this drawing, it is a back and forth of pushing back, wiping back, erasing, and adding more charcoal. And now I'm making a structural drawing change to the hoof of the horse. And once again, wiping the drawing back. I do this to create depth in the drawing. The more layers of charcoal that you can see in the finished piece, the more interesting and dynamic the drawing is. I like this other way of applying charcoal where I draw it onto the paper and then take a paper towel piece and wipe it onto the paper towel and then softly rub it into the background. And you'll see I use this technique all through the drawing. It really creates beautiful depth in the finished piece. And once again, I'm using the charcoal pencil, establishing the darks. When you start your drawing with the vine charcoal, you can kind of assess as you go to make sure you have the conformation and the line work correct. And then once you're feeling confident, you go back in with the harder compressed charcoal, in this case the pencil, and you establish those darks. And this is what's really going to help build the drawing. And now taking compressed charcoal, I rub it onto that spot of the paper and apply that charcoal with the blending stump. This gives a nice dark, deep tone, but it's also very subtle because I'm applying just a little bit at a time. And once again, building up the layers. Now I'm going to apply 2 light coats of the Workable fixative. The paper I'm using today is actually a sketch paper, which has a very smooth surface. This smooth surface is ideal for charcoal drawing, but you definitely need to use the fixative, that is for sure. And the sketchbook I'm using today is size 18 by 24. And if you're interested in checking out any of the supplies I'm using today, I will leave them in a link below the video. As you can see, I'm applying the charcoal using the side of the compressed charcoal stick. And at the end of the video, I will have a video clip showing the detail of how I actually apply the charcoal for the mane. I'm now taking a piece of that paper towel I used earlier and blending the mane into a more mid-tone value. I'm sorry, it's kind of hard to see. And I'm doing this now underneath the horse's legs. This creates beautiful soft passages. And again, using the compressed charcoal. And after using an eraser, I brush the particles off with a soft brush. And here I'm using a nice firm pressure with the charcoal pencil to really capture the emotion and detail of the eye. And then a very much lighter touch as I'm doing some light shading on the horse's face. I'm now going to use one of my favorite erasers. It's a TriTip. This is what it looks like new, but when it's old, you need to really clean the tips off so that you have a nice clean edge to erase with. This is really important. Otherwise, you're putting the dirty charcoal back onto the paper. And so now I'm just erasing some of the highlights again with the intention of layering the charcoal back over the surface and brushing off those eraser particles again. And now I'm using the blending stump not only to blend the mane, but to add charcoal to the surface of the paper. It actually reapplies the charcoal because the tip is dirty with charcoal. And now I'm going to jump ahead in the process of this drawing. I think you have a good idea of the layering process. And you can see I have applied some of the pastel. I'm just lightly tapping it onto the surface of the charcoal. And then I use the tip of my finger or one of my blending tools that I'm going to demonstrate in blending it into the charcoal ever so lightly. And as I promised, I want to show you some of the techniques I used in my drawing today. Here I'm using the side of a compressed charcoal just to lay in some of the charcoal, and then I can blend it with my fingertip. Or sometimes I like to use these packaging peanuts. They make great blending tools. I also like using the blending stump, and of course, I would be remiss not to talk about the paper towel. And I want to show you the difference between the vine charcoal and compressed charcoal using the paper towel. So as you can see, when you apply the vine charcoal using the paper towel, it's a nice light tone. And the compressed charcoal is much deeper and richer in color. Much darker too. So what do you think about this drawing process? Are you going to try it too? Leave me a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you'll like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you back here really soon. Bye.